No sabasi knows, does a trouble me sa sin. No sabati knows, me sa sorrow. What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he, just taking some time to tell you what's on my mind on this 4th of July holiday. And I have this article here, and you know, with all of the stories about online bullying and, you know, Kelly Marie Tran and, you know, all of that stuff that's been going on, people have been invoking the names of my man. What was the kid's name? Jake Lloyd, you know, from the prequels, you know, young Anakin Skywalker. And some people even talked about the actor who played Jar Binks, all right? And there's this actual article where the actor who played Jar Binks is talking about some of the troubles that he went through as a result of his performance, I guess you could say. I would call it a minstrel show, but you know, whatever, you know, it's his performance. So there's this article that is on, let's see, hold on, guys. This is on IGN.com, all right? And the headline is, Jar Binks actor opens up about struggles post-Star Wars prequel backlash. Ahmed Best said he considered suicide. Now that's serious. He considered suicide, by Lucy O'Brien. Ahmed Best, who played the much maligned Jar Binks in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, has opened up about the toll the backlash took on him. On Twitter today, Ahmed admitted almost 20 years ago he faced a media backlash that caused such pain he considered taking his own life. Though he didn't name the Star Wars prequels directly, The Phantom Menace turns 20 next year. And then it has a tweet from Ahmed Best, and he says, 20 years? Next year, I faced a media backlash that still affects me's career today. This was the place I almost ended me's life. It's still hard to talk about. I survived, and now this little guy is my gift for survival. Would this be a good story for my solo show? Let me know. And then they have a picture here. I suppose that's Ahmed with his son, you know, and that is a beautiful thing. You know, I have fun, you know, reading these articles. It doesn't mean that I'm insensitive to what's going on, guys. It means that everyone has been taking things so seriously, and some things need to be taken very seriously. But I like to kind of challenge us to look at the light-hearted side of things, because I don't want us to get bogged down in despair or seriousness. We have to remember at the end of the day, this can be fun, even though we make fun of one another. It's all good, okay? That is the difference. I'm taking some time to state that. Okay, moving on. The tweet was ultimately hopeful, as the actor said his gift for survival was his young son. Now that's something I can certainly relate to. I remember early on in my son's life, I went through the ultimate in despair in my life. I'm not saying that things couldn't have been worse, it's just that I never experienced such a trying time. And I physically remember holding on to my son and crying, you know, and remembering what's important in life, you know. So I can definitely relate to that. You know, Ahmed Best, I can relate to that. Okay, moving on. His words were met with a great deal of support, including some from Last Jedi director Ryan Oh shit. Oh, I wasn't ready for that. Oh, Last Jedi director Ryan Johnston, it says. Ryan Johnston? It's Johnson, okay? Who has had a great deal, who has had to deal with a considerable amount of backlash of his own. And Ryan Johnson tweets, see, this is how you know this dude is not working on any type of movie. All this dude does is stay tweeting. All he does is stay on social media. Ryan Johnson, when do you have time to be making a movie? I don't fucking believe it. You're not making shit. Okay, he has way too much time to be on social media. You, my friend, are bullshitting when you say you're working on a new movie. I don't believe it. So anyway, he goes on to say, lots of love to you, Ahmed. I think there are many of us who get quite a lot from hearing your story. Ryan Johnson, you are a master manipulator. You know that? you're trying to lump everybody's dissatisfaction with The Last Jedi in with what you did. You know, you're trying to lump what you did in with everybody else's experience, I should say. You know what I mean? You can't focus, and you don't think that all of us can focus on what our problem is, no matter how much you throw out there. You can throw out Kelly Marie Tran, you can throw out Ahmed Best, Jar Binks, you can throw out Jake Lloyd, you can throw out all these things. All that I am concerned with is The Last Jedi and the bullshit that it was. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about, and I have a right to feel that way. Okay, I am sorry for what everybody else goes through on the internet. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? That's not what the majority of the fandom is talking about. We're talking about the crap movie that you came up with and handed to us with no apologies. That's what it's about. It's about you, Rian Johnson, and the decisions that you made. Only you, all right? So let's keep that focus, shall we? Okay, so anyway, that's what Rian Johnson, bonehead, blockhead, Pootie Tang Johnson had to say. Okay. Now it says here, it's not the first time Best has hinted at the severe toll the Jar Jar backlash took on him. Misa had death threats through the internet, Best told Wire in an interview last year. Misa had people come to Misa and say, Yusa destroyed my childhood. That's difficult for a 25-year-old to hear. Okay, listen. All right, that's enough, okay? I'm going to take this seriously, okay? Like I said, just having a little bit of fun, but seriously, there is nothing funny about getting death threats. I do not condone it. I don't recommend it. I don't respect it. Nobody should have been giving death threats to Ahmed Best. Nobody. He didn't deserve it. All he did was play a role that people didn't appreciate. It went over the top, and it was flirting with racial stereotypes and being disrespectful. All right, but he played the role. Now, I don't know how you can do a line reading and do all that Misa Yusa and Yesa Bosa and think that there's not going to be a backlash, but apparently he did, and it surprised him about what was going on and the way that it was received. Okay, Ahmed Best, I am sorry for your experience. Okay, I truly, truly, truly am. People should be allowed to get over a bad role, but honestly, your character was CGI'd, okay? So if I saw you, and I think the majority of people, if I saw you online at a Walmart, I wouldn't know who you are. Ahmed Best, I would not know who you are to harass you in real life. And as far as online is concerned, you would have to delete your account, okay? If you're getting that type of harassment, the answer is clear. Get offline, all right? And I would say that to everybody, not just you, sir. It's like if things were getting bad for me, I would probably have to take a break from social media, okay? Because obviously I wouldn't want to see that every day, you know? So, you know, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, my brother. I really am, you know? But at the same time, I don't know, man. It's like that is the downside to notoriety. It is. There's just no way around it. You're going to have good and you're going to have bad. Okay. Ahmed wasn't the only Star Wars player to face harsh criticism, here we go, and threats for his involvement in the prequels. Last year, Mark Hamill expressed disgust at the way young Anakin Skywalker actor Jake Lloyd had been treated after appearing in The Phantom Menace. He was only 10 years old, Hamill said, noting that Lloyd did exactly what George Lucas wanted him to do. Hamill called the negative response to the prequel films just brutal, and one of the reasons he would never let his kids be in show business. Recently, The Last Jedi actress Kelly Marie Tran wiped her Instagram, allegedly, it doesn't say this, but allegedly, due to ongoing harassment following her appearance as Rose Tico. Remember, this has not been substantiated, ladies and gentlemen. So I put in the allegedly because, yeah, I'm kind of responsible like that in my reporting. All right, so that's the end of that article. And listen, that thing with Jake Lloyd, you know, the whole prequels thing, I remember, you know, when I saw the prequels, I had no level of outrage, man. It's like, to me, George Lucas films have an appeal that goes beyond plot. You know what I mean? Now, while I could admit there was a lot of extra talk about Trade Federation agreements and midi-chlorians and all that stuff, and okay, but it was still George Lucas's vision, you know, the overabundance of CGI and everything. There's two things that were going on back then. One was that my ex-wife really liked Hayden Christensen, so it's like I had to sit through those movies watching her ogle this young actor, you know, and it was all good, man. It's like it was part of the fun because I used to tease her about it and everything, but you couldn't tell her anything, you know what I mean? She just liked that smoldering thing, you know, that he had going on, and I personally love the lightsaber battles. You know what I'm saying? It's like I love the variety of characters. And say what you want, one thing that I really appreciated about the prequels is that it showed the rise of Emperor Palpatine. You know what I mean? This is something that the new ones can't get. They don't see the need to explain how things happened. It just tells you to take the story as it is and don't ask for any backstory. You know, so there's no backstory as to how things went from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. Like, how did it go from all hope and celebration to everyone being so hopeless? How did Luke go from proving where he had come from and his struggle and, you know, just his accomplishments and achievements? How did he go from that to being a broken man? It just gave us this snapshot in time with no backstory. You know what I mean? And one thing the prequels did very well is it showed how things happened every step of the way. So yes, even though Jake Lloyd's performance was cringeworthy at times, you have to remember he was a young child, and at that time it didn't bother me. You know, it really didn't. I wasn't one of those people who was cursing George Lucas and things like that. It's like it didn't live up to all of my expectations, this is true, but at the same time, I had a great time watching it. You know, I'm not picky that way. I see what the man was trying to do. You know, so it's unfortunate, you know, when I hear about the level of harassment that went on, you know, for a little boy like Jake Lloyd, and, you know, now to hear about this with Ahmed Best, you know what I mean? It's very unfortunate, and I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry for that aspect of fandom. You know, it's extreme, and I don't feel that it represents the majority of fans, you know, because the franchise was intact after the prequels. You know, my son had toys, you know, he had storybooks, you know, it was a lot to be excited about. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, the turning point for Star Wars came with The Last Jedi. It all goes on to Rian Johnson, and it goes on to Kathleen Kennedy for allowing someone like Rian Johnson to get a hold of the Star Wars saga, and all of the people who came in also that don't belong here. You know, because now the place is infested. The place is infested by people who are not fans, who share none of the passion, and it couldn't be more obvious. You know, Disney could put a stop to all of these insulting articles that are being written against the fans and things like that, but they don't. They don't, because people like Rian Johnson see it as enjoyable. You know what I mean? Rian Johnson probably looks at these articles and looks at these videos and probably whacks off. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about Daniel San. You know what I mean? It's like he's waxing off a different kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So I truly believe that. I truly believe that the industry is now being run by people who get off on dividing and torturing the fans. You know, and it is important for all of us to state how we feel, whether it is vocally or whether it is financially. So there you have it, guys. I just wanted to talk about this article that I saw. Ahmed Best, I wish you all the best, and I'm sorry for your experience. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for everyone who has to go through it. Unfortunately, that is a very real side of the industry, so it is to be expected, okay? We can't control what other people do, we can't control what other people say or what other people think. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. Once again, I want to take time to thank everyone for your subscriptions. I want to thank you for your likes, for your shares, definitely for your comments, and I will see you guys on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on. Misa! Misa!